Now that we understand what a storage class is, when we declare the data type during table definition, that is called as a type affinity. Type affinity means that a column prefers a certain kind of storage as indicated by the data type that we want it to be assigned to. But in the end, depending on the value that is being inserted, an underlying storage class will be used. Let's take a couple of use cases to understand this. If you declare a column with type text, that is, a column has text affinity and it stores all data using storage classes either null, text or blob. So if you insert a numerical data like say 10 into that particular column, it is first converted into a text before it's stored. So hopefully now you get a better picture of how a storage class and text and type affinity are tied together. Let's consider the next type affinity, numeric. So if lossless conversion of text to integer or real is not possible, then it's just stored as a text, whatever you provide. So that's the reason why, even though we declared this as an integer, the underlying type is a text. We'll soon dig into further details. If lossless conversion is possible, then it is stored as either an integer or a real number. Let's just say that you give a number like 10.1. Then lossless conversion is not possible, so it is stored in as a real. However, if you try to store an integer like 10.0, 10.0 can be losslessly converted to a real number, so the underlying storage will use an integer storage type. An integer is similar to a numeric type as far as the affinity and the storage type are concerned. Real has slightly different meaning in the sense that it will first try to convert anything that you provide as even an integer into a real type before it tries to store it. So that's what this particular piece of text explains. As far as blob is concerned, there is no conversion to take place, so it is stored as is. Let's now plow through. In this page, you'll find the relation between type affinity and the way you declare a column. So if a declared type consists of string int, then it's assigned an integer affinity. That's why if your column is declared of type integer as shown here, it's going to carry an integer affinity. If the declared type of the column contains any of the strings, char, that's why varchar also is going to take the same shape. Flob stands for character large object. It's similar to blob. And then you have text, then that column has text affinity. If the declared type of a column contains the string blob, or if no affinity is specified, or if no type is specified, then the column has affinity blob. So this is the default type that is assumed if you don't specify any column type. Then if the declared type of a column contains any of the strings like real or floa float or dub for double, then the column has real affinity. This is understandable, right? You're trying to store floating point numbers here. If none of these are satisfied, numeric affinity is assumed. With this amount of detail under the belt, let's now look at a bunch of examples. Let's look at the type of operator here. It is used to get the type of the underlying, or rather the parameter that is passed in. The type of hello is going to be text, as you might have guessed. Similarly, the type of say 10 is going to be integer, and the type of 10.2 is going to be real. That's because lossless conversion is not possible. In this case, it's also real because it's not trying to coerce it into a particular type before storing it. So by using this type of function, let's perform a few more operations.